Hello, hello, and welcome to the newest episode of Borderline Podcast Disorder. Oh, guys, it's been a very, very busy week. I just finished I just had my final exam a couple of days ago. So, like last week, as you would listen to the podcast from Monday morning. I had my last uni exam, my last presentation. I haven't been gigging as much, although I've got a couple of shows lining up this week. One of them super exciting. I've been nominated, or I'm opening the Best of the Fest at the Brighton Fringe 2025, I think on Tuesday. And I'm so excited by that, and I'm very honored, and I'm very much looking forward to it. It's the first time I'm doing the Secret Comedy Club. I think that's what it's called, Secret Comedy Club in Brighton, and it's great, and I'm very looking forward to it. And having said that, I've been quite annoyed, very very angry in the last few days, mostly because I've been thinking a lot about the about what happened in Washington D.C. The murder of two people outside a Jewish event. And let's be honest, they were killed because some radical Islamist thought they were Jewish. That's it. Like, don't. That's all it takes now. Just for the idea that in 2025, someone can walk up to you and end your life just because of how you look, or where you're standing, or what events you attend. That should make everyone stop and reevaluate where we are as a society. And I've been loud about this, and especially on Instagram, because that's where I have the biggest amount of followers. That's where I thought I'd be most active. But in the last couple of weeks, I actually decided to change over and start try to take those fights, or those conversations on Facebook, because that's where I have that's where the people who I actually know um, are, and I can talk to. And these people I've worked with for a long time. Some they've been very supportive around the comedy circuit, mostly comedians, or people that I know through comedy. And those are people that I trusted, and some of them are people that I used to look up to. I say used to because the way I've been spoken to, on the replies, the talk down, the gaslighting, the way my worries have been dismissed. And this happened only a couple of days before the shooting in DC, by the way. It's made something clear to me, that these people are morally bankrupt. I wish I didn't have to say that. It's been hard. It's been not acknowledging, but accepting this. It's been hard, but they are. They don't see it, or worse, they don't care. That their endless posts, their lies, the twisted narratives, the refusal to even pause and think critically. Think about it, guys. So many comedians, people that I actually thought they were intelligent people, believed the lie that 14,000 kids would die in 48 hours. To what level do you either have to hate Jews to believe in such a thing, just like Josh Howie said, or the other one is, how much of a moron do you have to be to actually not question this kind of numbers? But anyway, they don't think. They don't think that their actions, the way they talk, the things that they say, are endangering Jewish lives, not just in America. Because I'm talking about what's happening here in the UK. It's what, over 300% in anti-Semitic reports to the police. Yeah, it's the crime rates have been on anti-Semitic offenses have gone through the roof. And this is the people who are those are the people responsible. It's not just about the very radical, Islamists or very radical Nazis or far right or whatever you want to call them in England. No, those are not the majority, those are not that many. But the problem is that there is a huge pool of liberals, I think they call themselves. I don't know what the word is. And they are the ones who are responsible for enabling the behavior of those more extreme ones. It's infuriating and it's heartbreaking because some of these people should know better. Some of them do know better, but they've chosen to be willfully blind. For what? For likes, retweets, a false sense of morality. I'll keep speaking out. I won't stop because silence won't protect us. And the people who've been fanning the flames, whether directly or by pretending neutrality, they should be ashamed of themselves. They've helped create an environment where being Jewish is a risk, where just showing up can get you killed. And if that doesn't shake you, then maybe it's time to ask what side of history you're really on. Yeah, guys, it's been a very it's been like a carousel sort of week. I feel like it's been a carousel over a year. I don't understand what is happening. I I really try to. You know, I'm very I still feel quite privileged and quite happy that I work hard and I've managed to do well for myself and I'm still pushing more. And there is another bit of exciting news that I've managed to secure the first show for September. And I'm looking to do that. I'm looking to do much more shows like that. But honestly, when I lift up my head from this sort of bubble, I guess, that I made myself a part of because because I'm working and because I'm pushing hard and I don't necessarily want to look left and right and care about what other person has and I don't have and stuff like this. It's helped me a lot, but then again there are those times when I actually do end up perhaps having to lift my head. And then when I lift my head, I see some of the worst things I've ever imagined. I left a country which was broken, which was trying to recover, and I still don't think it's recovered. And I came here to see this country crumbling. And it's sad because I feel England is my country. I've been here for a long time. I have the right to be here. I have the right to hold a passport in this country, to vote and such. And I do want for this country to do well. And I want for people like myself to feel safe, to be okay. And yeah. Look, I didn't know that I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna talk so much, and I'm gonna be this, heavy in my introduction. But it had to be said. I feel like it's something that I've been sitting on. I've been sitting with for such a long time. And thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Is with a good friend of mine. It's not been that long since we had the previous episode, but we had to make an exception because Stea is living in London. So we did an episode before he moved to London, and now we're doing one because he's living in London. He's not going far. He's only going, I think, again somewhere on the near the south coast. But it means that we won't be able to, at least for a while, not be able to see each other as quickly or as easily. And so, yeah, why not record this? Why not do this? And I'm very excited because, again, although we haven't recorded that long ago, actually, I think it's maybe a year ago when we recorded. A lot of stuff has happened. You know, the kitties have grown. Even the when he came in the flat, in the apartment, things were changed around. You know, we were doing a lot of work in the apartment, and now the work is kind of over. You know, and it was quite nice to, and it made me realize how, you know, I mean, realize re it reminded me that time does fly, sometimes very fast. And yeah, we came a long way. But look, enjoy the episode, and I'll catch you near the end. Bye bye. Okay, so Steve, welcome back. How are you, bro?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry, I'm just trying to make myself comfortable. Cool. Yeah. How about you? Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. What have you been up to, bro?
For a while, I was organizing comedy nights. You've been a part of some of it.
Yeah.
We're not the best, but trying. Moved to London because the last time we spoke, I think I traveled on purpose just for this from Portsmouth, which was still a long way. Yeah, trying to find like living and enjoying London on whatever has to offer.
Well, because that's the thing. It's been like what? It's been a year?
So I think so.
Yeah, or maybe
Around a year.
Around a year since we've done. Yeah, we were on the other side of the room doing the podcast. I remember. Yeah, you came from Portsmouth, bro. That's huge. How did you feel like? Because obviously now you've been around for almost a year. Is is London what you thought it would be?
I didn't thought anything because I never enjoy London, so I was just like, yeah, okay, fair enough. And if people are listening from London, it's just like, yeah, it is what it is. So it's just, I just never thought that, I never thought of moving to London. It was just like the entertainment industry was here, and I was like, maybe it's better than staying in Portsmouth because you don't have a lot of opportunities.
Fair.
But like life-wise, if I could, I would just stay probably in Portsmouth around. It's more calm, quiet, nice. I don't know.
Yeah. Because then you don't do you drive or
no, not driving at the moment.
Because I think it's that's like one of the almost like the dreams where you can just like, you know, you build enough of a scene for yourself that you can just live outside of London and just like drop in.
But if you don't drive, it's just difficult because it's like you always need to be on time for the trains, and it's just like rushing everywhere. So just
I feel like this is a huge problem where I feel like everything, because every time like I go outside of London, I think even in London, to be honest, I think with the trains and everything, it's almost like a race always, you know.
Or either like I did that in some gigs that I did like abroad, or just like everywhere. It's just like you book the time there. You're just like, oh, I'm gonna go for 2 nights, and then I have a night of comedy. I will do a day like traveling and search around the town or the city, whatever it is, and you take the best out of like that travel, but not every time it's possible to do that. So
I don't think. Yeah, that's the thing. Because again, it's almost like you. I don't know if it happens. This happens to you, but to me, it's like I want enough certainty to like, you know, because it's almost like if I do a gig nearby and I know where I go and what the journey is, I'm fine. But then when I have to try something new, you know, like in regards of like traveling, and then because it's almost like in here I know when I know by the way things look to when I go to the station whether it's going to be busy, whether it's going to be quiet, whether there are delays or there are not delays. While when you go to a new place, I have to, you know, go, oh my God, like am I missing something? What's going to happen? Stuff like this. And I don't know. Again, like this is the thing. I remember, and I don't know if this happened to you, but I had a lot of people, I hear them going like, oh, because if you do like comedy and if you like travel around London, you must know London well. I'm like, I don't know London because like I have one. I put like a postcode or like a location on my maps,
Yeah.
and I just go towards that location. Everyone's like, oh, you must have seen like the coffee shop nearby or like the gallery or whatever. I'm like, I haven't seen anything.
I
'Cause
might be that person that like goes around, search around before the gig. Because like I find and like this goes to like my YouTube channel and everything is just like I find peace just going around, going to the nature, going to like even before this podcast, I just went to research a little bit on the Finsbury Park, like the green areas, and I was just like, this
Yeah.
is nice, just walking around nature and. So as like I always try to like, oh, if I can, I'm gonna try to search this new trail or whatever, and
That's impressive because again, it's not my thing. And actually, I lived near Finsbury Park for a little bit. No, actually, about a year. But it's the same thing. People were like, "Oh, you must go to like the park a lot," and I was like, "I've been maybe like 3 times within that year."
no, I don't know. I just enjoy the fact that it is just like if I go somewhere, I like to explore and go around, and it's just like I enjoy solo traveling. So that's not. If I had the money, I would just be traveling everywhere. It's
Yeah.
just like yeah, fine. Don't worry. Let me get the minivan and let's just go in a hippie style. So it's just like I enjoy that, but it's with comedy sometimes it's like yeah, okay, let me try to book to this place and at the same time I travel, so it's 2 in 1 and it justifies.
Because this is the thing is obviously like since last year we were talking about how been you've been traveling for a bit.
Yeah.
I know you've been home. I've seen you sent me some videos. Where else have you been in the past year?
Because of like as soon as I moved to London, like the finances were not the best, so I couldn't travel a lot. So I've just been trying to like know a little bit of London, traveling around, but also like with my GoPro as camera, I can't record as much. So I'm trying to upgrade to create better content. It's just like sometimes I'm like, do I want to go to this place? And then as like I know that like 90% of the footage I will not save because there is not a good contrast in the camera, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to go out just for going out. So I always enjoy having my camera.
Yeah.
And it's just like just maybe it's like that's my motivation to search around. It's just like, oh, I have the camera and I'm gonna try to document this and showcase this. But when I don't have it, it's just like, I don't know. I can't be bothered just going for the sake of going.
I think it makes sense. I mean, again, not that it has to make sense, but I've got the same with, or I used to have the same thing with like my like Apple Watch, like my smartwatch, where I was like, what's the point of walking if I don't have the watch to track my, like my steps, or like if I don't have, like, what's the point of working out if I don't have the. Okay, sorry guys, we need to pause for a second. Sorry guys, sorry Steve. It was basically I started wearing like a shirt and tie on stage. So now it started from like a joke. And then now I decided like when I do bigger shows, I just do it as a part of like, like being on stage.
Okay.
So I've basically, because I'm the same, like I'm not doing financially like well, so I just go on eBay and I bid on like
by the way,
£1.
Who's doing like financially well in London? That's the question. It's
I don't.
and then I don't know, like probably like entrepreneurs, yes, but like most common people are just like surviving.
You see, this is actually funnily enough. Yeah, this is one of the things I speak with Irene, my partner, about. Sometimes I feel really bad about the things like unfolded. Although again, I've been. I had all like the issues with my old day job and stuff like this. So there were things that made it worse. Yeah. But then, I felt like quite bad about it, obviously. And then I keep telling Irene about how much I hate the situation that I've got through, and how, actually, no, to be fair, this is the worst I've ever, like, since obviously I lived on my own since I was 17. Like I looked for myself. I looked after myself since I was 17. I don't think, although I was almost like homeless at times, but then it was understandable because I used to do like cash in hand jobs, So it was like, because I used to do those like days where I had I used to get £30 per day
Mm.
for 10-hour shifts in a building site. But at least he was like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But now it's almost like, I've got, at least at the time, I had like a good job, and stuff like this. And you're like, how am I struggling with money? Because I'm making like I should, like I've never made more than I make now, sort of thing.
Mm.
So then how come is not enough while so sorry, but just to say this because I know I'm it's long-winded, but basically, yeah, Irene was like, oh no, loads of people are struggling. Like it's a thing. Like everyone's
Yeah,
got.
the cost of living
Yeah.
are higher.
And I was like, okay, again, it's weird, but it's one of those things where like I feel a little bit better because I'm like I don't feel like I'm the only one who's been because it's almost like if it only happens to you, there is a part that goes, oh, you're being stupid. You don't know how to, work out your finances. You don't know how to do this. But then it's almost like if it happens to everyone or more people.
Yeah, I have the same with like, and we talked before the recording that was like searching for jobs. I've been searching for jobs for like almost a year since I moved to London and still nothing. I'm like doing some side hustles here and there. And comedy sometimes helps a little bit for the groceries, but that's it. And it's just like, yeah. And then you go, it's like what you're saying is like, you go search it out and it's just like, oh, everyone is struggling to find a job. Okay, so it's not my CV. It's not.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, I feel a little bit better. I don't feel great, but I
Yeah,
feel
of course, that's what I'm saying. Because you don't get like it doesn't pay you.
Yeah.
The fact that don't worry, everyone is unemployed or like everyone is looking for jobs. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't
Yeah, exactly.
help the act. But at least it's kind of like, yeah, it's not me. That sort of like, okay, I'm not the problem.
Yeah.
I think that helped me out quite a bit, and yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, Irene was like, oh, like loads, and then I've realized because obviously, like, I go and like I socialize with comedians or like even with other people, especially because since I started going back to uni, like I speak with people in my courses and stuff like that, and they are also like struggling. I'm like, again, it doesn't help me, but morally, I'm like, okay, at least I'm not the only one who's trying to fighting to like make ends meet. But anyway, coming back to the thing. So because of that, I basically I go through like I go on eBay. I love eBay. Like I know people say that eBay is like they say that eBay is the weird uncle of Vinted. I don't like Vinted. I think it's bullshit. It's overpriced shit.
I never used Vinted. I can say that like I used eBay to like make some money, side hustle for a while. And like, I don't know if I mentioned that in the last, when we were recording the last time, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a long time that I was like, I'm a huge nerd. And it's just like, I always huge nerd, geek.
Huge nerd. Yes. Sorry.
So I always enjoy like Yu-Gi-Oh! And anime and that sort of stuff. I don't watch very often, but I still enjoy. So like, I did a lot of research towards like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I try to make some profit out of like buying and selling and stuff. So I'm familiar with like eBay and the betting and like the it's quite interesting. Like I enjoy the platform itself.
But the thing is that now, so I go on it and I'm looking for like £1 shirts and stuff like this. So I've managed to like get a couple in the last week, and like one of them got delivered now, which is quite crazy because like, I think I paid like £1.70 for the shirt, and then the delivery is like £3. So it's but you know what? The thing is, again, it's still cheaper. Like it's a much better quality than say like a Primark shirt or something like that. But then it does the job for me. So I'm like, you know what? This is, and that's why I love eBay, man. Like I don't understand why.
I do that with like air products because like the air product that I use comes from Spain. I got used to it to not let like my hair fall.
No way.
So it's just like I got so used to that product that it's just like they don't have in the UK, and I'm like, I know this stylist in Barcelona that sells the product on eBay. So every time I order from her.
No way.
So it's just like it gets expensive and like the shipping because it comes from Barcelona, but it's just like, okay, it's £20 on the shipping of all. I know the product is gonna arrive safe. And I order it every time. I order at least like 3 because it gives me for like 3 months or something like that, or 4. So it's just it's.
I mean, this is the crazy thing, bro, because it's like now thanks for talking about hair, because I had to get a haircut because I was at this like we had a Passover, which is like a Jewish holiday, and then you have this thing called like a seder, where you just like basically like dinner with mates, and you talk about like what happened and like why we celebrate the Passover and like what we remember and stuff like this. But then someone, so basically we went to I went to a friend's house, and they have those like lovely dogs, and I was just like petting the dogs, and I was like playing around, and someone took a picture of me turn around and like petting the dogs, similar like how you're petting Sarma now, and then as they took the picture from behind, and I wasn't wearing a kippah, I could see that my hair, like I could see like a bald spot or like a thinning spot, and it made me feel so conscious. I went and got a haircut, and now I'm also like looking for I guess not even treatment, but I'm just looking for like remedies for like balding and stuff like this, because I'm so scared about it. And so you know what? Basically, what I was trying to say is, I get it, bro. Like, you gotta look. I think the hair,
like most of men get it. It's just like,
but it's like one of those things where same with like your immunity, or like it's just one of the things that it makes you feel better. Like I do the same with like joint like vitamins to help you out, with bone, joint, going to the gym, walking around, stuff like this. But then hair is a huge part, man. So you should look after that.
and for me,
it's
it's like I think like since probably 16 or even 14, like I noticed it's like, okay, I have some spots that is just like, but what to do? And there's like, I had a doctor once, like a family doctor in Portugal, like saying, oh, try this sort of like shampoo, whatever. It's like conditioner at the same time. It's just like, okay, I feel great. So I feel that like my hair is getting some volume, and I'm like, I enjoy it.
Okay.
So instead of changing, because you never know what is the side effects or whatever, it's just like, oh, I enjoy these ones, so I'm trying to find the same ones.
Yeah, no, which again, like that's the thing. I very much applaud, and I agree. Like once you got something that works for you, bro, you gotta do it, because again, it's that's the thing. It was shocking to me, and I think like last week, I went and got a haircut, and I was like, now I'm just gonna have short hair for a while, because I just don't want to see that thing, because I think you remember, because you've seen me with long hair when I had like,
I don't know.
and I well, not as long as yours, but long enough to like have like a slick back sort of look. And then that friggin'
I don't know if
spot.
like my long hair benefits me either. Like I get some people, like especially feminists, like, hey, you should cut all of it. I was just like, no, I enjoy long hair. Like especially for metal concerts, it's just the best. You're just banging. Have
you been to any since you came to London?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm broke, but I go to metal concerts.
I think, bro, you still gotta look after yourself. And the thing is, with because who do you go and watch? So imagine if it's like indie stuff, then it's not even that expensive, and it's good to treat yourself.
I don't know. It's just I went to see Sleep Token. I went to see like I go to see a lot of bands. Depends on like if I get a little bit more or not. It's just like I can. But it's some of them are not that indie in terms of metal. Like there is one band that for me is overrated, that is like Infected Rain. They are Moldovan. And, it's kind of nice, and I went to see already twice, and it's kind of nice to go see them. But again, I just like, if I know that they're coming to London and I can go, it's just like, let's. But then there is others that is like, fuck, why don't I have money? It's just because like there was one that is just like, I think I hope I'm not butchering the name, is I got to Lax, and there's just basically like, what they do is metal, but like with the sound of a frog. So they do like
what?
For someone that never saw that, it's just like metal, but imagine like a frog singing metal. So it's just like, it's so fucking hilarious. And for me, it's just like amusement, that sort of content. And they go on stage with like sort of like the same way that like in hospital they like have those dresses to like to the zones that are like, oh, this is very infected, we need like the full,
like a hazmat suit.
Yeah. So they go on stage with that, and they sing like with frog, that metal voice, and I just find it hilarious. So it's just like, and they had like sort of like progressive extreme metal. going on in Camden. I think was coming or was like a few days ago, like when we were recording this. And it's just like, fuck, I don't have the money, but I wish. And was like, I think was 10 hours of like concert, not them, like
Oh, right.
a lot of bands, but they were
Yeah,
there.
they were a
Just
part of
like,
the. Fuck, man.
and there was one that basically like is sort of Marlon Mason type of style that like they
Yeah.
show a lot of like rude stuff. And one of the things that they do is like spill fake blood across the crowd.
Ah.
And it's just like, I don't know, I'm weird. I enjoy going to like weird shit and just like.
Fair enough, bro. Fair enough. I not my thing, but you know what? I think it's no, yeah, because I think. Oh God, no! I'm trying to think if there's anything. No, I don't like. If anything, I find. I think I went to a metal concert with a friend of mine. I got invited like 2 years ago, and I thought. I think actually it's the same reason why I don't go to like even like techno like nights and stuff like this, just because I'm like I can't like the sweat and you know it's not for me, bro. I get so especially when you talk about like someone like the throwing of like fake blood. I know it's fake blood, like it's fine. I'm not, but it's just the idea of like getting that on top of your sweat, like getting stuff thrown. Because I remember I went to a festival a couple of years ago in Romania, like it was like an electronic like EDM festival. And Steve Aoki was on one of the DJs, and then he had that thing when like he throws cake at the public, and I was like, this is like the weirdest shit in the history where people are asking for to have like a cake thrown at them when it's like 35 degrees outside and you're gonna be there for another 6 hours after and it's just, I don't know, to me it's
I don't know, I'm like, and my best friend, I think like I've spoke to you like off podcast, like my best friend is Romanian, and like he's a metalhead at core. And it's just like we try to schedule like our hangout most of the time is just like schedule gigs to go, and it's just.
Is he in London?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's just like we schedule gigs to like, oh, do you want to go see this band? Do you want to go see this? And it's just like most of our hangout is based on going to metal gigs.
How did you two meet?
When I was studying at university, like
in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's interesting, man. I didn't think Romania had like a big metal fan base.
There is.
Interesting. Because have you been to Romania?
No, I've been invited several times because this friend of mine,
Yeah.
all of his family keeps saying like, "Oh, just come. We have the house and stuff."
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, but I need to first get my finances right. And
Do you know where in Romania?
Transylvania.
Yeah, but like what part? Or not sure. Okay. Okay, that makes sense because they were a bit more like. Although I love Transylvania, they are a bit more like hippie, in a way where it's like, I mean, I guess they are like much more like innovative as well. Like I remember the first people that I met from Romania with like because I wouldn't say I have like a Romanian. I don't necessarily like have like a Romanian taste for like a classic Romanian taste for music. I don't have but still, yeah, like people from Transylvania.
By the way, I still remember like when I posted this story. I think it was a long time ago, and I went to see Carlos Dream, and they were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I didn't even know they were still like a band. I haven't, because I used to listen to them when I was in high school in Romania because they had some like breakup songs, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice."
I don't understand anything. I just found like the stuff interesting.
They are quite interesting, but again, like I didn't know they are still a band. So actually, when I saw you at the gig, I was like, "Is this? Were you meant to watch something else?"
No.
And then you got there by accident because it was quite funny. But how? Yeah. So what? Because did you get through Carla's Dreams because of your mate, or is it?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So then I was like, I don't, and most of like sometimes I listen to like Chinese music and all kind of genres, and it's just like or nations, and it's just like I don't understand, but I like the melodies or I like the rhythm. It's just like I would go see that. It's
really,
yeah. If I enjoy, it's like I might not understand what they're saying, but I want to see like what type of show they put in, because I enjoy more like go see a music event than like comedy. At this point, it's like comedy. I'm like I don't know. I will see it if like I'm booking the events or if I'm organizing, but if like I'm not going beyond my time to like go
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
comedy. While music, I'm like I want to see them and like what if I apply that to comedy, to like my style, whatever, like some entrances, some
Interesting.
like,
Okay.
because you don't see that a lot. Like you don't see like music being applied, like what they do on style, like being applied to like a show in comedy. Most of the times, you have some people that try to do something, but like lights type of stuff.
Oh, right, right,
Playing
right,
with
right.
all of that, and it's just like not being the
Yeah,
show
'cause
of words, but like being a full show around.
yeah, 'cause I think isn't it that the attention span is different?
Yeah.
I think because like you can't if someone was to like play with lights at a comedy night,
Yeah.
it would just confuse me so much, and I probably wouldn't even listen to the comedian.
But I think like you've seen me perform a few times, right? I think so. And it's just like my way of performing is not traditional stand up. So I always try to like create an abstract concept. So it's like that gives me ideas of like, oh, what if like I do this silence bit, whatever it is, like in a different way, and I play with this type of stuff. Like there was one recently that I just grabbed like some sort of like sofa from like outside of the stage, and I just
Okay.
like went silence, grabbed the sofa, put on stage, sat down for like 30 seconds or whatever, and said like I'm tired, and then just left and took the sofa and then put outside. It's just like, yeah, I don't think anyone is doing that type of show, because it's just like people just focus on the words, and I'm like, yeah, I want to create jokes, I do jokes, but also I want to create like a full show.
Yeah, which again, it's fair enough, and again, like that. That's I feel like the thing with the beautiful thing about comedy is like it's an art form. You know,
Yeah.
everyone. I feel like everyone can like define it however they want, and then you just gotta see. And I'm sure there are people who are like, oh wow, yeah, I like this because again, like I see why again I see why it's funny. You know, like why the idea of. Again, like just like moving stuff around, almost like making things awkwardly funny because I like that sort of. I like the awkwardness. I find awkward stuff like cringy. I can find something that's like what the fuck is happening, but then also like ha, this is really it's interesting, it's good, it's funny. But no, I was just gonna say like I feel like again in my or at least like this again you see this is the beautiful thing about it because it's like. We are.
But it doesn't work all the time. That's the thing. Like you need also the stuff that I do. Sometimes I need to adapt. Of like, okay, this crowd will not understand, so I will just play a simple like type of comedy because like if I go to abstract, it's just like this is not the right.
Yeah, but then this is the thing where it's the sort of and I don't know if I spoke with you about it, but I have because I know that I talk with people and I always have this stance of like when you do gigs that are not necessarily like people don't come to see you, then your job it's almost to like find your audience. So again, it's understandable that some people are not going to like what's about to happen or like what don't like the joke itself because that's not their type of comedy and that's fine because again and this is the thing, the more particular you are about doing comedy and the more niche you are then the more niche of an audience you're gonna get. Yes, sorry, Sarma is trying to be a part of the podcast. She's speaking
She's
with
agreeing
us.
with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you, Sarma. Yeah, what's up? Da? I love her so much. She's quite, and it's actually it's interesting because normally she doesn't come out like this. So, but I think again, like you've been here before, so
it's been a while. But
she is she is more familiar with you. But anyway, so that again, that's my view.
But I think like you have, and I noticed that like you have always to adapt, and not always you get recognition for adapting to every crowd. because like you go to perform and there's just like some promoters whatever just like, oh, this is not, this is like, yeah, I'm adapting, I'm not doing the full thing that I would do if like I would do a 30 minutes or 40 minutes. It's just like I'm adapting because I don't have the crowd to do what I would. And yeah, and like the funny thing is like, and when you were mentioning the stuff, it's just like I've been editing a lot of stuff. We talked of podcast as well, like that I stopped for a bit because I'm searching for jobs, but still putting a lot of content on my YouTube. And one of those that I'm gonna put, because like since I stopped, I was like, I was working in this material, but the material was good already, so I'm gonna put that again as another special on YouTube, just like getting that material out. And one of those, I think that's there. One of the jokes that I did like this last month was just like playing with the mic stand without saying anything. And I love the reaction of people every time that I did that. It was just like, I would get there in the beginning. I would play with the mic stand, kind of like cleaning a house. It's sort of, but in the stage. And then just like after probably 30 seconds, 40 seconds, like, Jesus Christ, this is so much time to go still. And like with the idea of like, oh, okay, this guy is crazy, insane. And instead of the rest of the comedians that are like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna make my time worth, I'm like, nah, this is tiring. So like playing that character of like, oh, I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that sort of.
Which again, like it is funny, but I also like this is the thing. Especially, I feel like sometimes when people are watching comedy, because I used to, oh my god, maybe like a year and a half ago, before I was like medicated in the right with the right drugs. I wasn't even a persona. It was just me. I was just like so miserable, and I'd go on stage, and the audience doesn't know. Sometimes that's the thing, they don't know that's a character. This thing again, the more niche you are, the more likely is that people don't have any idea. Because I mean, it's, although I know it's a bit of jealousy because I don't necessarily like him as a comic or as a person, although I haven't met him. But like, lots of English people I meet, they're like, oh, I love Jack Whitehall, I think he's such a great comic. And I'm like, I don't think he's a great comic. But then the thing is, you see, those people, they define comedy by what Jack Whitehall does. They define comedy by what their favorite type of comedians do. So then when you go on stage and you do something that's like your thing, to people who are not like comedy savvy, they are just, again, comedy enthusiasts. There are people who love comedy, but then again, their definition of comedy is different from yours. So then again, like what I was trying to say is with this, because I struggled with it about a year and a half ago, where I would go on, I would almost like make this like sort of like, I'm like just a miserable guy, and then again, I feel like some people, the people who loved it really loved it, but the people who didn't love it, they were very like clear, not very clear, but they were just like, I'm not laughing because again, I don't find this funny, which is fair enough. Again, each do their own.
The thing with like that I have fun with, like the cares or whatever I do on stage is most of the times, even if they are not laughing, and that's why I enjoy like not like light full out, but like just seeing the audience as well, because I can play with that notion of like, oh, you're not enjoying, so more of this will come in the near time. So they're like, oh, this guy is really mental, and they start laughing by the fact that I'm mental and like insane or trying to do something totally different. So, and that character, like that persona, whatever it is, like it came from like difficult times in Portsmouth, because like I would try to do like my material, but at the times I was like, that's not working. I'm like, I'm tired of this. Like I'm here, but and I start notice that got more laughs than the actual some jokes that I had. I was like, oh, I can approach this in a side of like someone that doesn't want to be here, but at the same time will fill the time. And so I don't know.
But you see, this is the thing again. It sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. and I think it's important to, yeah, I think you see this is the thing, the sort of like the psychological factor where you like, well, I don't even know if it's called a psychological factor, by the way. But the idea of, like, I'm doing the stuff that should work and it doesn't work, I'm tired of this. So you see, you bring that onto the stage, and again, some people enjoy, some people don't.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting to see like your perspective around it and the way you feel about it.
Yeah, the thing, like when you say like, oh, this thing doesn't work, that thing works. Sometimes I'm just looking at my materials like, I have no clue why this works, but fair enough, I will keep doing. It's weird because like there was premise that I'm like, I still don't understand why people find this funny, but I'm like, if they laugh, they laugh. There was one of my, and again, is either on YouTube right now when this episode comes out, or will come out soon. It's just like one of the jokes that I get more laughs about it is like me talking about suicide and saying that I tried to kill myself but I couldn't because I'm a loser. So it's just like the fact that this is a joke and this works, I'm like, why? Why does this work?
But you see, the thing, actually, I find it very hard because when I try, like I tried in the past, I was writing some stuff about it. I actually find that it makes sometimes people like listening very uncomfortable because they don't know what's coming about to happen. So actually, I feel like it's such a fine line when it might work, but when it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
But it's like, for me, it's like every time, sometimes I'm doing like a material that's like, oh, this is more intellectual, this is more my vibe, whatever. And then it's just like, this is not working. Okay, suicide joke. And they're like laughing, hysterical. I'm like, for fuck's sake, I hate this joke so much.
Because I think it's like, because you give off like a bit of a, and again, I don't know if that's the case, but you give off like a very like Bill Hicks,
maybe,
sort of like I don't know, again, if you do it like willingly, but it sounds like, you have this sort of like, oh, I'm so much smarter than you, and obviously that can like piss off some people, but it can also like make some people interested on like, oh, what you're about to say. But then the thing is, because again, it kind of goes on to that, at least in my head, or like when I see you perform, I'm like, it gives me that sort of idea of like, I don't know if it's like a joke or if it's like for real, and I don't even know if it's an English thing, but I heard it in Romania, where it's like the smarter you are, the more likely it is that you're like miserable, like depressed, and you want to kill yourself. Because obviously, because you're smarter. Like that's the thing. When I think the joke or like the saying is something about being like stupid is a blessing, because you don't have to, like, you don't acknowledge the shithousery that's happening around you, while when you're a smart person, you're like, how can you be like smart and yet like not get angry about all this bullshit that's happening around? So then that's why I feel like that's pretty, like when I see you or when I see the videos on YouTube, or like when I see you in person, it's kind of like, this is the vibe that you give. So then I'm like, when you come up, I think this is, in my head, this is why it would be funny, because then you're like, of course he's thinking about killing himself, because like, why wouldn't he, you know what I mean? Because it's almost like, because he's such a like miserable fuck. Like he seems like, again, he seems like a smart guy, and then he's trying all this, like he's doing this like smart things, and he's being like profound, and like, of course he's depressed, of course he's sad.
maybe sometimes I think that, but not like about to comedy. I just think about that as like, oh yeah, I wish I would be like ignorance here would be a bliss, but I just never associated to like, I just never made that bridge to like, oh, comedy, that's why it works. I was just like, okay, but that makes sense of like, oh, they see was like, oh, this guy's intellectual, and of course, like he's miserable because
again, I'm not doing this to, what do you call it, to like try and like evaluate. All I'm saying is, again, like I my opinion is, and it's not, I have not necessarily any facts to prove, because I've not read on it, but like all I'm saying is, when I see you performing, I'm like, because you come across as like, because again, like, even look, the hair, everything about you is like, like you study all day. It's like one of those people, like, you just stopped reading. You just finished reading like 5 books today, and then you go on stage and you're doing a bit, and obviously it's like, say you read something that's like really it's about like the atrocities that are happening in the world, and then obviously you're sad, obviously you're angry,
Or
and
just
then
like something about like the 17th century. And
yeah.
like, why is this guy researching about the 17th
Yeah,
century?
like I was like, why is he angry about the Roman Empire? Like it's been so long, you know. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to live anymore. And then everyone was like, of course he fucking doesn't. I get it, you know.
You just talked about the Roman Empire and just remember me like of the worst the worst book that I have read, like found on online archives, because I've been reading a lot of like online archives, historical archives, and I found one that was like a historical botanic shit, and I was like, this must be interesting. 200 or 300 pages of like just a guy describing flowers. I'm like, fucking boring. Can't. Who's the person that's gonna publish this? For fuck's sake, no, not even pictures, just like the guy describing.
Just the
I'm like,
flowers.
I'm like, come on. Why am I reading?
Why are you? Why are you reading it? I don't.
think I just make myself miserable on purpose.
Yeah, but like I don't. You know, I stop reading books when I'm like, this is too much.
No, I still read to like find some joke, trying to find some like nugget in there.
Yeah.
There was one that I tried. That was a little bit more interesting, but was like about ghosts and supernatural. And like all the descriptions to me look the same. The guy writing the book is just like, I saw something that wasn't supposed to be there. It's a ghost. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's a ghost. There was one point that I tried to make a joke that was just like, the guy said like, I was walking down the stairs to my living room and I saw a pig. That's a ghost of a pig. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where you live.
Probably just the shadow of your knee, man. Yeah.
I don't know where you live. Maybe you just let the door open, the pig slide in. I don't know. It's just like, it was all of it like that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm reading this, but why? I question myself, why?
You need. I'm glad you're about to get a part-time job somewhere because you need to get out of the house, bro. Oh my God, this is. But I don't know, man, because I feel like I sometimes used to like even read or like even I watch like old TV because I love like I don't know. Have you watched that show? Oh my God, what's it called? Beyond Belief.
No, I don't think so.
It's like one of the weirdest fucking like TV shows in the history of television, and it's about. So he's just like this host who's trying to like who's presenting those stories, and it's like, do you think this is real or do you think this is like fictional? And he was like, like my husband died, and then I won the lottery because like he told me which numbers to pick. And then he's like, do you think this actually happened or do you think it's fiction? And the thing is, I enjoy watching that, but I'm also like, I wonder if there was anybody because it's like I think it's from like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I'm like, I wonder if people like then like if someone watched this going like, this is real, like this is peak television, because to me this is like background noise, and I think it's it's hilarious because you get like, I start like writing a letter and then I can hear this like voice in my head that's telling me what to do, and I'm like, it's your conscious probably,
I don't know. I would prefer reading about it than watching the stuff. I was just like having like a DJ set in the background playing, and
I'd much rather. I'm a visual. I feel like with books have to be like entertaining, and it has to be something that
like what fictional stuff.
No, that's the thing. I don't read fiction. Like I read most. Like even if I have like historical findings, like I have a book on the table that I go through from time to time, which is about like Jewish history in like the place where I grew up. But then, like anything else, like my whole library, it's non-fiction, because I'm curious about like learning.
I can't read fiction either. It's just my brain is just like, I already make a lot of characters.
Yeah.
I don't need.
Yeah, it's almost like that as well. I think because it's like I've already like imagined so much shit.
I just want like the fiction stuff, like the non-fiction stuff that I read. Is just like I enjoy reading like. And I think that's my comedy, is just like finding the more obscure reference and trying to make it funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm reading so much weird shit. I'm like, why the fuck am I even bothering with reading this shit? And sometimes it's like, oh, there's a little nugget here. Okay, fair enough. Worth 200 pages trying to skip read it or something like that. It's just
God, no. I feel like, yeah, to me, it's kind of... Because I even sometimes I read like biographies, you know, and I'm almost going like, oh, I don't care about this. Let's go through like I want to see the juicy stuff, you know, and just like power through the pages. And I read like every other word or stuff like this just to get through, because I can't, man.
Like for me, it's just like the fact that it's like some things on books like trigger some like scenario, and I'm like, oh, this is funny to try to create a joke about this. I had one, just for example, that was just like I was reading. I think it was about the history of poetry. I think was something like that. So the guy was talking about poetry and stuff, and suddenly like he started mentioning French authors or like French phrases, and I just imagine like someone like going to France and ask themselves, why is this person speaking French to me? Why they don't speak in English? So like this weird scenario of like they're like, this guy is wrong for speaking French to me when I'm clearly wrong for being in a country that doesn't speak English. And so I don't know. It's just like that idea of like suddenly the guy is in the wrong that is in their own country, and you are in the right. I'm like, I'm gonna try to create a story about this, like some joke, some short jokes about it.
Oh my God! Like my brain froze for a second, because I was thinking about this thing that I used to like struggle with a lot, and as a kid watching TV, and especially even now as an adult, I kind of like I find it hilarious when you watch like movies about, again, like if say like the for example, I watched like Hercules, like was my favorite like animated like Disney movie, and I was like, they speak English, they don't speak Greek, and I'm like, how, you know, like in my head for a while I thought everyone must speak English, you know, because like that's how people like, or like you watch a movie now, for example, and you like I think like even James Bond, you know, and he's like he travels to like all these places around the world, and there is someone who speaks like perfect English everywhere, and all these, and I'm like, how, like, you know, almost like it made me feel bad as a kid for not speaking English. It's like clearly everybody knows this.
Yeah,
you know, and you go like, oh, here's like here's a documentary about the Egyptians, and I'm like, the Egyptians speak English now, you know. It's like Cleopatra was speaking in English with the Roman emperor. What's the guy who was trying to like Ishaga, you know. I'm like, everyone just like spoke English all the time.
Yeah, I just never made that connection in my brain. I was just like, when I came to trying to do that joke, like write that joke, I was just like, British people assume that everyone speaks English, so I'm gonna make a parody of that, of like them.
Do you see? Well, actually, I think to me it's the opposite. But I'm like, I thought everyone speaks English.
So it was like in my mind was like, I'm gonna make a parody of like British people going abroad and trying to. And that's like my mind. It's just like triggers some stuff, and it's just like, oh, okay, this and that, and I think I had a joke for a while that was just like, again, I'm reading the most bizarre books, and I found like a book from a friend that is like was about like grammar and like how to have the right grammar in English and stuff.
Oh, English grammar, right?
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, what can I take from this? This is boring just to like read the sentence. And at one point, like, the thing of like a phrase needs to have a verb, and I'm like, oh, okay, so what if I go to like an English lesson and the teacher is like, oh, the verb, and I'm like, who's the verb? Who is this person called verb? So like my mind goes straight to like, oh yeah, let's create a fake scenario that's like someone is trying to find someone that's called verb. That's funny for me. Like,
got it.
It's just like,
it is funny.
Yeah, it just triggers, like reading books just trigger like some imaginary stuff scenario, and I'm like, this is funny, and this is and I'm having fun reading the book because of like those imaginary situations.
Yeah, I can see why, but this is, again, you see, this is why I find it like so fascinating just like the way imagination works, where like
Yeah.
to you it's there's like a clear, like not clear, but like this is the way you look into it. While um I don't know, I feel like with me, especially like growing up and like reading books, it's kind of like I took things very like literal. So if someone goes like, again, like say like every sentence has to have a verb, I would almost feel like uncomfortable if there wasn't, like there must be a verb in this sentence. And it's almost like, I don't know if you have this thing, but when I have a to-do list, I just want to like cross everything as soon as possible,
Yeah.
and then move on. So I might just like start the sentence with a verb, so then I know that I've completed the game. So yeah, it's stuff like, but you see, that's the thing. You just like, that's where your brain goes. That's what you focus on. And like I think with the same with like punctuations and stuff like this. I found English, like especially when I came to England and I had to like learn again like grammar in here, coming from Romania, where it's like like you have to use like punctuations correct. You have to use the the oh my god, I forgot the thing, like the space between the words when you, so you have to use all this like properly. And then I came in here and I was like, nobody gives a fuck about this, but then it makes me feel so uncomfortable. So I used to write those like say if I were to like write an email, even not even just an email, but even like a message to a friend, I used to write it in such a way that it was as if I'm sending it to like Oxford, like dictionary headmaster to like read proof for me. And then everyone was like IDK, and I was like, this is embarrassing. You should spell, like you should write, you can't, the first word in a sentence cannot not have a capital letter. And now I'm fine. I'm over it now. I feel like now I'm that guy who's like,
oh, really?
Don't worry, IDK, DW, or whatever. Just write as you, or like you are. Like I would go like URE, you're, rather than you are.
I don't know. Like I feel that like even our communications, I write the full sentence. I write a lot, and it's just like, I don't. And I've spoke this on like a recent interview for a podcast, whatever, like the podcast project, I forgot the name, but was just like, the idea was like, what bothers you? And I went on like people abbreviating stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what I hate the most, like people abbreviating stuff, or just like small talk. And it's just like, because I think like the previous episode that I did with them, I spoke about small talk, and I was just like, I don't know what one is worse. And I said that's like, everyone that sends me like abbreviation, I'm like, you're gonna need to explain what that means. So just write the fucking thing. Just go with with the full thing, because the time that you're gonna have to explain me the stuff, just write the thing, or just call me. Just go for a call.
Yeah, just go for a call.
It's just like, I don't know. I'm still like, if there is words and like there's so much words, just write something. Just don't like abbreviations. What is that? Like, or just emojis. What are we like in the Neanderthal times? Like trying to figure it out. I don't know. I just don't understand.
You think we're going backwards,
Yeah, I think so. Like you get from like, oh, words, beautiful words, whatever, to like emojis. I'm like,
picture.
Yeah, that's what like thousands of years ago, like they would write in the rocks, like happy, smile. It's just like, I think we surpassed that. Can we?
You see, this is bro. That's such a funny, like. Again, it's an interesting concept, because you see, oh my god, what I was going to tell you is that sometimes I feel like talking about like small talk. I actually feel like, if I message someone, if I don't see people in person, I'd much rather like small talk online, because I get like, I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes when I speak, especially if I have like serious conversations over messages, I get tired. Like halfway through the conversation, I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so fucking tired. While these things happens when I think I do it now, for example, again with like Irene, or like if someone if I call someone, it means that I need to speak,
Mm.
because I can't just speak in it, because I know you get this thing where, oh, like we need to talk, like send, like
Yeah.
call me, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck we need to talk about, and I'm actually now I'm to the point where like, okay, cool, yeah, we'll talk over the phone. I'm very
Yeah.
comfortable with that, because
Yeah.
I'd much rather than even like read an email
Yeah.
and stuff like this, because I'm just like, it's again, I feel my attention span, it's not good, and then I just go through like da 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 da, and then go skip, and then go to the end. And I'm like, oh, what? How did that
Oh,
happen? And
okay,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh
no.
God, I need to read it.
Yeah.
And then I try reading it again, and I'm like, I'm so tired. Okay, cool. I need to do it again. Yeah, it's
Fair enough.
like trial and error, trial and error.
I think it's for like different people have different ways. Like I like when someone like puts the effort and writes like a full script, a full thesis on the stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have fun reading this. Nice. And I have a friend, like he's been a professional for a long time in the entertainment, and it's like every time he messaged me, because sometimes he's like, I have doubts about like budgets on comedy, whatever.
Mhm.
It's just like, do I ask too much? Do I ask? And I ask him like all the time for his thoughts, and it's
Yeah.
just like he writes me like probably like almost a full thesis on the message, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I like it. I like
That's
to read.
nice.
Because like he's taking the time. I know
Yeah,
it's
yeah, of
busy. He's
course.
been touring and stuff, and it's like, yeah, he takes the time to
Yeah,
write
yeah.
the stuff and to explain like, oh, I've did this a long time ago. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's helpful.
That makes sense. Because again, like I sometimes when I write stuff like this, I go strong. Like I start like with full sentences, and then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I'm tired, so I'm just gonna start like shorting stuff up, or I'll almost sometimes I notice that I would like send a message and it would be like half of the idea, and like for the other half you gotta come tomorrow. Yeah, because I'm too tired now. I can't.
Yeah, fair enough.
I
No,
just
I
get
think like I might be autistic when I write something like I'm full in that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thing. So it's the same with the books. It's like if I'm reading something, I'm invested on it. So it's just like I will go through like reading most of it until like, okay, this I cannot take anything more from this. It's just like, but most of it is just like, yeah, I'm gonna go full in this botanic flower
yeah.
book because it's boring, but I'm hoping that I find something interesting.
Wow. I don't know if I'm jealous or not. That's the thing. I that's the weird, because I as someone who's like, nah, I'm done. I can't like read something and just be like, oh, this is, or like sometimes, especially again with like biographies, I get to like I hear about like, oh, this like cool thing happened in someone's life, and then I'm like, okay, cool, let me have a read through, and then the thing happened quite early in their life, so then there is still a lot of book left. I'm like, I'm done. Like I came for like I that's what I came for. I got it. I'm over it.
I get one or two that's like I'm truly interested, but it's around like sometimes like about politics or something that's like I'm interested in their
Yeah.
ways that they got there or something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I might not agree with your views, but I want to know like the way that you think and like what made you think that way. So that for me is interesting, but the rest is just like, I'm gonna read about an entertainer, just like or something like that. It's just, I don't know. I see too many.
Again, like actually, the most of the books I have, I don't, especially like comedy, not so much. I think I have the Tiffany Haddish like the book about her,
Yeah.
or like her first book on my reading list, like is near my bed. But then besides of that, everything else is about like either politicians or like
Yeah.
historical
Because
people.
you want to understand them, like why they think that way, what made them.
I think so. And also I want to see, because some of the books are like quite old as well. I just
Yeah.
want to see. Again, I just want to like get a better understanding, because I feel like sometimes I don't know, especially it's happened recently a lot where I'm like, you know what, there are so many people that I don't agree with on certain things, and then with some of them I'm almost like, I get why they believe in what they believe in, but then I think that the downside of that is that when I see people that have nothing to do with a certain subject but yet have a very strong opinion, stuff like, I'm like, that's the downside, I guess, of it, because
Yeah.
like it's almost like, oh, if you speak with someone who grew up with, like, oh, the color
Yeah.
yellow is the best color in the history, and that's like kind of like what they've been fed. I'm like, okay, fine, I understand. Again, I don't agree with you, although actually yellow is my favorite color, but I don't agree. That was a bad example,
Yeah.
but I don't agree with you, but I understand why you
Yeah.
see it like that. But then when it's someone who, I don't know, say like they've never fucking, like, they didn't grow up with colors,
Yeah.
and they are like, no, yeah, green is the best color. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know? Like, who makes you?
Yeah.
Like, how do you like, why do you think that you're right and the stuff like? And also, again, it depends on.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes there are downsides to it, because I feel like
But I think it's the same way that's like we view, because what I'm seeing on what you're talking is just like the same way I view the people that I surround myself with, and I don't try to surrender myself from a lot of the entertainment industry. Like I have you as my friend and we talk often, but like apart from that, it's just like I'm more interested on like the entrepreneurs part, like on people that really make a business out of like, oh, I'm selling stuff online, or I created my business out of this. Then like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel that's like, oh, entertainment industry is nice, but it's nice for the audience, not for people that are involved in. Because
Fair.
it's like you see how fake most people are to get to, and it's just like I don't know. I just don't have the patience, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm not. I know I'm doing my own thing. I'll put my own shows. I'm just not bothered about.
I think it's.
And sometimes, like, I think that opinion of like, oh, I'm gonna research about the politicians or something. It's like, yeah, because I can't be bothered researching like the other stuff, because I know how they operate.
Yeah,
like.
yeah. I get it. Because I was gonna say with this as well, but I'm kind of like, always like on the fence, and even I think with the group of people that I surround myself with, I don't know if sounds like it's just good or bad, but it's almost like, I know whose opinion to, or like I kind of like, I have a list of like, say again, like even influencers that I will take on for like. Again, like say like, look, I have like influencers about like religion, and like I go to those influencers if I want to, like I would say listen to them, or like I would take their words, more seriously. But then it's almost like, again, if like a comedian again tries to talk about anything that's not comedy, I'm like, what makes you like what makes you
Understanding the
exactly, because then that's what I want to know, because otherwise I'm not I think it's happened with musicians quite a lot in the last few years,
when
I was like
giving a lot of opinions. Just play the music, just
exactly, well, again, look, fine, they can do their opinions, but my thing is I don't have to listen to it.
Yeah, and a lot of like the like A-list celebrities is like, no, free this, free that, whatever it is, like the cause. It's just like, why? Why are you giving opinion about this when you're like clearly living in a mansion and you're like appealing for like charity or something? Just do it yourself. Like, why you're like, oh, this cousin, and it's like in the end of the day you're living comfortable, and the rest is, it's just like, I don't know. I just
and like, this thing, like what you, because actually this is a thing where I'm like, I think everyone can have, obviously it's like one of those things with like the free speech, everyone should or can have an opinion, but is that when you treat your opinion as facts, and then you actually, I think my problem is when people expect other people to take their opinions as facts. That really like annoys me, because I'm like, look, the thing is, if you have I don't know, if your opinion is that, say like, that chair is ugly, I'm like, fine, like again, it's your opinion. But then if you're trying to like make me like impose it on to me that, oh, you must believe that factually that chair is ugly, I'm like, how can you say that that's a fact? That's your belief, that's your anyway, so the stuff like this where I'm again, like, I find in the last few years that I'm very much like, I know where I go and like take my news from. I know where, and even then I still question it, but I'd much rather, like, I don't know, I don't listen to that. Yeah, the thing is with musicians, like the amount of musicians that I used to be like, oh my god, I think this like person is the coolest person in the world, and they know everything. And I'm like, no, they know music, they do good music, but that's it.
Yeah. I don't know, and even like you're talking about the news, but I'm not like, you know, that like the comedy that I do can now be like, oh, this is acceptable, I can relate, but also like in a few years time like relate as well, because I don't try to like talk about
topical
current, so it's just like I truly switch off from the news. I'm just like, this is just one side most of the times. I don't want to listen to something that is like, oh, I'm taking this side because this is the side that is paying me money to advertise this. So it's just like, yeah, I'm just living my life. Whatever like conditions me, I will be aware, but I'm not paying attention to.
Perhaps that was actually a bad example on my end, because I think I've got about I want to say like 5-6 months since I stopped like actually like reading the news. Like because I feel like it's one of those things where, like, you know what, if something is worth knowing, you will know. Like it comes. It's almost like, because I think it came from the Ari Schaffer's last special when he was like, you know what, if you were like in the woods when like 9/11 happened, like when you get back of the woods, you know you will find out that 9/11 happened. Like you can't not find out.
And even about like the like, oh, you need these documents, whatever it is. Like, it's just like, you will know. You have people. If you surrender yourself with people and you're not living alone in the woods, which I would love to, but that's another cause. Like, people will tell you, like, oh, this document, the news said. I was just like, okay, thank you. I will have a look into that. But it's like, otherwise, why am I bothering like researching? And it's just like, no, I just.
Oh my god, this is actually the thing. It was quite funny with. Because when I went to Romania, I forgot. I only took my Romanian passport with me, and I didn't know that on the board they were like, "Oh, you have to like update like your settled status on a website with your passport, so that when we scan it, it says that you're like settled." And I was like, oh, "Fucking okay." And but then the police officer was like, "You must." Do it by the end. It was in January. It was like, you must update it by the end of March, otherwise you may not be allowed to come in this country. And I'm like, dickhead, I'm a citizen of this country. But I didn't say. I was just like, fine. But I was like, this sort of like, oh, how do you not know that there is another system that just came out a few weeks ago? Like, because I don't, again, I don't go on like the Home Office's website every morning to see like what's the latest.
That would be a weird office. It's like, I'm just updating myself from the Home Office, just refreshing.
Just waiting to see like what's real. Because I mean I know that sometimes I am guilty of that, or like I used to be guilty of that, because I used to work in like working like a tech job, and someone would come with like this like very ridiculous tech question, like, how the fuck don't you know how like cloud works? And I'm like, oh, okay, fine, because it's not your job to know. Like, it's kind of like, again, it's the same with like a passport. I have no idea how they make the passports. I just know that I order one, and then every 7 years it just comes back like in, and that's the thing. Like, I don't need to understand how they make the chips in the passport. I just know there's a chip in it, and that's enough for me. Like, that's the level where again, I am guilty.
But it's the same. Like, when I went now to like when we were recording this, like few months ago, I went to Portugal, like and there's just like I got in the time that's like still didn't need to like that biometric shit that's now going on. And it's just like, that was great, because like I took those holidays like on purpose to not like have to deal. It's just like, that comes in the beginnings of April. I'm like, I'm gonna take before because I needed like some stuff from Portugal. Also, like, it's a nice way for me to like bring food and save a lot of money.
No way.
because I go there and like my mom packs my bag with a lot of tuna and a lot of cereal. So just like, yeah, I'll be sorted for,
That's good,
for
man.
the rest of a few months.
No way.
So yeah, it's just that's like my way of like, yep, okay, I will say. And also like I started taking like cholesterol pills, like to like how you say maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, like to reduce like the fat on the blood.
Oh, okay. So no, you're not taking. Okay, the and against cholesterol.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
cholesterol is
yeah.
the bad guy.
So it's just like I start taking them, and I was just like, instead of searching here for like something and
Yeah.
asking like to go to the doctor or something, I was like, oh, I was just like, my parents will do that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
when I go there, I grab a huge, a lot. I was like, this time I think I brought with me at least probably 5 boxes. So I'm
Jesus
I'm
Christ,
sorted
man.
for like the upcoming months.
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
while.
of like cholesterol,
Yeah, yeah.
anti-cholesterol.
Yeah, so it's just like I go
pills.
there and I sort my life, and then it's just like, yep, I will come back.
Yeah, the NHS has a shortage. They can just like raid your house.
Yeah. So it's just like I just go there, I just pick the stuff, and also like I don't know, I just every time that I go to Portugal, I go to like the private doctor. It's like I go to the private sector in terms of medicine,
Yeah.
and it's just like I sort my stuff out, everything that I
Uh-huh.
need, and it's just like I don't know, I just never bother to like do it
Yeah.
because it's like I don't know how to speak some stuff like the medical terms, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like here, so just like, oh, I go there, I will explain in Portuguese.
Yeah.
And it's fine. And yeah, I sort like the blood samples, whatever, seek the stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it's fine.
But I get it because I feel like before I felt like, oh, this is home. It's kind of like, yeah, it's almost like, oh, I'm here for a bit. Like I'm here for an amount of time that's like definite because it's gonna end at some point. And that's why, because I think I used to do the same thing. I used to go to Romania to like my dentist was in Romania. Although again I lived in here full time.
Yeah.
But it was just because in my head I was like, I don't know where home is, and that's like, which again that's like perhaps that's a different thing because I never felt like, oh, my hometown felt like home to me. I felt very like estranged from it. But all I'm saying is I get it.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like when I started now learning about like how the medical system and like things work, and not just that, but again, that's like one example. Even the the equivalent of DMV here with the cars and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, this is weird because, like you said, like some stuff. Again, I've been here for such a long time, and I still don't understand like the reasoning behind the word.
Yeah.
Because like mortgage to me means nothing. Like in Romania, there is not such a thing as. And again, that was like one of the things that came up now, but stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, also it's easy to like. I go there, my parents are there, and they book the stuff, like they do the admin stuff for me. It's just like, nice. Finally, I don't need to do all the admin for myself. Because like, as you know, it's like I'm always booking events, doing this. And I'm like doing so much, and it's like sometimes. Nice that they're doing that admin for me.
Yeah, no,
I don't need to worry. I just go there. I go for a walk or a hiking or something. And I think like one of the last photos I sent you, like on the message, I think was from one of the hikings or something.
Yeah, and I think one of the videos I've watched.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like I go there, I relax a little bit.
That's good, man. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, we're reaching the end of the episode. Just again for the purpose of not being able to use this. What I was going to ask you is again, obviously let's do the plugins again. So your YouTube channel, let us know what's the handle for that. What's your handle on social media? Also, if you've got anything coming up, just for reference, I think this is going to come out near the end of May. So in a month from now. So if you got anything that we gotta like keep an eye out.
I have a lot of projects edited for the YouTube. Like so far I think I've edited with like for advanced like around 25 long format content. So it's like I will post that. And
what about for anyone who's never
vlogs, hikings, reposting a lot of like old footage that just never came out in the YouTube channel. So
from where?
some from Portugal, some from London, some like just like showcasing like those places that most people might not know about.
Okay.
It. And so I just thought like I'm just gonna reuse this. Like the footage was short, was like 2 or 3 minutes, and I did like a short introduction, like sort of a podcast before.
Okay.
So like to make to 7 or 10, whatever.
Yeah.
Putting some like as vlogs as well, like some full performance without editing it, just
Yeah.
like a short introduction and then the full performance. To have, I think like that's a nice way for people that are not into comedy to understand like the work a comedian does.
Yeah,
like, just
yeah,
have the. And I have an album coming up, like a comedy special album, sort of coming up, like short, trying to take advantage of like some gigs, and I have a special as well coming up. So I don't know when I will post this, but yeah, I have some ideas. There is in my YouTube channel, there is like 4 or 5 specials. I lost count so far. I just like anytime I have ideas, it's like, yeah, I will put it there. I think it's 4 or 5. I don't know. Also, like a lot of hiking vlogs. Yeah, just search up like, and probably the link will be in the description. Like Steaproduction. So yeah.
Perfect. And then so the Steaproduction for YouTube, and then
the rest of the links are on YouTube, so they can search it up. Like it's always on the description or just like the head of the YouTube channel. So just like they can easily.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for doing this again. Yeah, thanks folks for listening. Bye. How was it? Was it good? Was it what you hoped for? Well, thank you for listening. Excuse me. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning to add to another one of the things that I find frustrating, which is again, I feel like it's one of the least frustrating, if I'm being honest. But I am kind of battling a cold of some kind. Been very sniffly and been coughing a lot. So look, that's it. That's it from me. Until next week. And you know what's gonna happen now. I'm just gonna ask you to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow. Check out the Steve's socials. Check out my socials. Check out all the socials. Tickets for the September events and coming on should go up shortly. I'm not sure when, but I will keep you posted, of course. And that's it from me, Pickle and Sarma. Until next week, stay skillful. Bye.